these are the headlines. The National Committee for the Observation of the Lunar Crescent of the Ministry of Religious Affairs has announced that the date of Eid al-Fitr is Wednesday after Shawwal's crescent was not sighted. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and National Community Abad Ahmed Attaf had bilateral talks with his Kenyan counterpart as part of his working visit to the Republic of Kenya. And in New York, the Security Council is holding closed consultations that would be followed with an open meeting to discuss Palestine's fresh request for full UN membership. The arrival of our community settled abroad to their motherland has already been spotted. More than 300 members arrived at Rwanda to spend this particular period with their families. All right, welcome back. First of all, the National Committee for the Observation of the Lunar Crescent of the Ministry of Religious Affairs has announced that the date of Eid al-Fitr is on Wednesday after Shawwal's crescent was not sighted. And the Minister, Ahmed Attaf, has received a phone call on Monday from the U.S. Secretary of State, Antony Blinken. The talks focused on the latest situation in the occupied Palestinian territories and the latest developments within the Security Council concerning Palestine's bid for full membership. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and National Committee Abad Ahmed Attaf had bilateral talks with his Kenyan counterpart Musalia Mudavadi as part of his working visit to the Republic of Kenya. As tasked by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, the talks focused on ways of strengthening cooperation and partnership relations between Algeria and Kenya in various fields, as well as consultations and coordination on regional and international developments, in particular issues of common interest. The two parties also agreed to review the institutional framework of Algerian-Kenyan relations by reactivating the Joint Economic Commission and the Business Council and strengthening political consultations at all levels.
We have either programs of cooperation that are ongoing to the satisfaction of both sides, or promising projects that we both look forward to materialize and implement in the very near future. Having said that, our satisfaction at the pace and content of our bilateral relations is faced with a strong concern at the fast deterioration of the surrounding regional and international environment. We have thoroughly reviewed the situation in the occupied Palestinian territories, including the genocide being committed against the Palestinian people in Gaza. We have also discussed and exchanged views about peace and security issues in Africa, including those pertaining to our respective regions, East Africa and the Sahelo-Saharan regions. I reiterated to my dear brother Algeria's admiration and full support for Kenya's stabilizing role at the sub-regional and continental level, as well as beyond our continent in leading the UN peace mission in Haiti. From its position in the Security Council, Algeria will spare no effort in voicing and defending African concerns and African priorities, including those of this particular region, of those of Kenya more precisely. You know, my brother, that you can count on us, as we did count on you when Kenya was in the same position a year ago. However, the state of almost complete paralysis that the Security Council is experiencing nowadays have proven once again the imperative need for us to seek and to implement African solutions to African problems.
On Monday, and in compliance with the instructions of the President of the Republic, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad took a series of emergency measures aimed at improving the services provided by diplomatic and consular representations and addressing the concerns of the Algerian community abroad. To this end, instructions have been given to set up a system of appointment for various services, including obtaining biometric documents. And in New York, the Security Council is holding closed consultations that would be followed by an open meeting to discuss Palestine's fresh request for full UN membership.
The Palestinians will not and cannot achieve statehood through a declaration at the United Nations.
The United States of America, no.
I did to admit Palestine as member of UNESCO.
Palestine is there, and whatever you will do, you cannot really erase Palestine from that map.
We don't negotiate that right with anyone, nor we ask for permission regarding that from anyone. This is how it was done by everyone, including the United States of America in 1776.
The challenge is obviously no veto from the U.S. And the question is, will the 2011 scenario repeat itself? Granting the statehood of Palestine will only make another step towards peace, which is the top responsibility of the UNSC. Earlier, the Palestinian ambassador to the UN, Riyad Mansour, and after the meeting stated that all parties should accept this bid following the UN General Assembly 1947 resolution calling for the establishment of the State of Palestine. Let's have a listen.
It is high time now for the State of Palestine, which was called for the establishment of two states in Resolution 181 in 1947 by the General Assembly. So it is the General Assembly, along with the Security Council, the international community, to accept and to invite the other state, which is the State of Palestine, to become a full member in the United Nations. After we have these two equal, full member in the United Nations, we open the door slightly in the direction of peace, and we hope that the Security Council, which is trusted in the maintenance of international peace and security, to allow for that door to open slightly in the direction of the implementation of the two-state solution, which requires the end of occupation and the independence of the State of Palestine.
Palestine now, and after 2012's historic event, is a non-member observer state. Today, its renewed application for full membership has the support of the 22-nation Arab group, the 57-nation Organization of Islamic Cooperation, and the 120 non-aligned movement. The UN's first institution accepting the membership of Palestine is the UNESCO in 2011. A slap in the face indeed for some. Rania Al-Bahri will take us back in time.
In a 23 September 2011 letter to the Secretary General, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas formally submitted the Palestinian application for UN membership. The letter contained a declaration in a formal instrument stating that the State of Palestine is a peace-loving nation and that it accepts the obligations contained in the Charter of the United Nations and solemnly undertakes to fulfill them. After the Secretary General transmitted the letter to the President of the Security Council and General Assembly in a note, the President of the Council circulated the note to all Council members and called for consultation on September 26, 2011 to discuss how to proceed with the application. On September 28, 2011, the Security Council met in an open formal meeting and referred the matter to the Standing Committee on the admission of new members. The committee held two formal meetings on September 30th and November 2nd, 2011 to consider the application. In between the formal meetings, the committee held 5 informal meetings, 4 at expert level and 1 at permanent representative level. On September 5, 2012, the League of Arab States supported this effort as an alternative approach to the State of Palestine's request for full membership in the United Nations in 2011. On September 27th of the same year, Mahmoud Abbas indicated that the State of Palestine intends to request a resolution from the General Assembly to raise its status in the United Nations from permanent observer to non-member observer state. The United Nations General Assembly, consisting of 193 states, also agreed to de facto recognize the sovereign state of Palestine on November 29, 2012, resolution number 6719, by updating its status from entity to non-member observer state of the organization. The vote was held by a majority, as 138 countries voted in favor of the resolution, 9 countries voted against it, and 41 countries abstained from voting. For their part, the Palestinians have long hoped to become a full member of the United Nations, and they were supported in this endeavor by several African countries. At their head, Algeria, in its capacity as non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council, who raised the voice of the Palestinian people during discussions for this membership.
And joining us live once again, the Professor Hamoud Salhi, analyst in geopolitics. Sir, welcome back. Thank you for being with us tonight.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Sir, as we saw in this topic, Palestine never gave up in its fundamental rights. Straight to the point, why would any state veto this long-awaited peaceful approach?
It's obvious. The first reason is the fact that you have a power, an Israel that is created, established, supported by the Western world. That's at the end of the Second World War.
Sir, I think we're not hearing you well. Can you please repeat?
The world wanted to in the Declaration of Balfour, beginning with the Declaration of Balfour Declaration in 1917. Then you have the unconditional support of the United States, which sees Israel as it's allying the region, and it has to the Palestinians. This is seen in the negotiations. It's supposed to be a fair mediator, but it hasn't done that in Oslo. And the third thing is the failure of the international institutions, including the United Nations Security Council, to implement a resolution that it's supported, including a resolution 2235, 2236 that ban or that calls on Israel to stop settlement.
Yes, sure.
And several other resolutions.
Exactly. 6 months have passed. And even amid Ramadan, Palestinians can't have a break. Literally everyone is targeted there. Can April bring some stability to the Palestinian occupied territories?
We hope so, and there are some helpful signs, particularly when you look at the role that the United States seems to be playing lately. The United States campaigning against Israel, but hasn't done any actions. But real domestic pressure that are bringing Gaza to the forefront of the electoral campaign in the United States, and the fact that the challenger, Donald Trump, is now using Gaza as one of its ways of rallying support for himself. Second, you have the international pressure. The United States cannot hold support in Israel. And the latest abstention the United Nations Security Council, the latest one that was led by the Algerians, is a clear indication the United States is worried about the future. And the third one, which is obvious, the resistance, the Palestinian resistance, is proven to be has succeeded on all levels. And its pressure on the field and the resistance of the Palestinians are all force. A hopeful sign that perhaps, and we pray, that April will be the end of these atrocities that the Israelis are committing against our brothers Palestinians.
Hopefully. All right, thank you for your presence. We will certainly get back to you in our next editions. Sahaidak. A few hours before Eid al-Fitr, we will share with you the best moments of members of our community and their joy upon their arrival to their motherland to spend Eid al-Fitr. More than 300 members of our community abroad arrived at Iran lately. Yasin Hamdi reports.
Happiness is in the air when the ship Algérie 2 arrives at Iran's port. A happiness that you can see on the faces of members of our community who could come to spend Eid al-Fitr with their families and friends. To ensure the smooth running of customs formalities, several measures were taken and resources were mobilized by the authorities.
The kids are in vacation, so we came to spend Eid with our family. The customs welcomed us very well, and I thank them. We were well welcomed. We're not tired after the trip because the facilitations made things easier to us. The police and the customs were very helpful.
The security and custom measures took place in circumstances appreciated by the passengers. The whole staff was very professional. The process was quick, thanks to additional corridors for reception and inspection.
Everything was good. I was sick and they took me to the doctor who gave me seasickness pills. When we arrived, the people working here helped us. I'll spend Eid with my family. The trip conditions were very good, especially with the facilitations.
This kind of initiatives and facilitations strengthens the relation of our community abroad with their motherland.
Let's head now to Spain, to the southern city of Alicante, to live a typical Algerian evening where the Algerian traditional outfits and sweets were obviously present in this cultural meeting, gathering members of the Algerian community and their friends from different nationalities.
The Cultural Association Algérie in Alicante immersed us in the typically Algerian atmosphere of Ramadan's last days and the preparations for Eid. It was a convivial meeting that brought together members of the national community and their Spanish friends to help them discover the richness of Algeria's cultural heritage. My objective is to pass on our culture here in Spain, particularly in Alicante. We have made lots of tours in Sidi Bel Abbès, Tizi Ouzou, Algiers, etc. Also in Paris and Portugal. We did tours for the Algerian folklore, also runways of traditional outfits. I am a member of the Cultural Association Algérie with Rabia. We explore the Algerian culture in all its different aspects, and we have the opportunity to discover the Algerian gastronomy through culinary workshops. I am thinking about launching courses to teach the Algerian dialect that is originated from the Arabic language. It was also lexically influenced by the Andalusian, Spanish, French, and Turkish dialects. I am so happy to be present in this cultural Ramadan evening where I had the opportunity to discover the Algerian culture, which reflects the authenticity of the Algerian people. I have done a lot of training of Algerian sweets cooking and I was specialized in Algerian sweets cooking. It's always great pleasure to make known our traditions to foreigners and also to gather the Algerian community abroad in an Algerian ambience. Such commendable initiatives are strengthening the social ties and building new bridges between the national community established in Spain and other communities. They are also introducing them to the Algerian splendid culture in all its diversity.
Algerians have already started preparing the sweets of Eid al-Fitr, but it's certainly better to make sweets with less sugar and more organic ingredients. As they share their thoughts with us in the story of Yasmin Masoudi and Jahtiyar once again.
Conscious of their health, more and more Algerians are choosing to reduce their sugar intake, especially during Eid al-Fitr. My family and I don't eat sugar food, but during Eid, sometimes I eat some on the first day, but I prefer to avoid sugar for the following days. I'm the one who makes my Eid cakes to limit the amount of sugar in the preparation. On the one hand, it saves money, and on the other, it's better for my health and that of my family. Traditional cakes with almost no added sugar. The owners of this pastry shop in Algiers have made this their specialty, selling only healthy food. We use coconut sugar, whole wheat flour, organic butter, dates, almonds, and only organic ingredients. We prepare here all Algerian traditional sweets, such as النقاش, diriyat, mshikla. Our sweets are less sweet, but very delicious, and our clients love them very much. In Iran, another market with the same specialty is attracting more consumers. Fatima Zahra seized this opportunity 3 years ago by creating her own pastry, offering a collection of healthy traditional cakes suitable for all diets. These traditional low-fat cakes are a quality alternative for good health. The sweet ingredients vary from diet to another, such as diabetes. Also, the recipe is well studied due to the client's demands. By opting for these well-balanced treats, you can celebrate the festivities of Al-Eid with even more pleasure and conviviality and less sugar.
All right, that was it for today's news. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.